could Kyle Pitts finish as a top 5 tight end?
Yes, I believe Kyle Pitts could finish as a top 5 tight end in fantasy this year. And let me explain, okay? Let's look at tight end 5 last year. Tight end 5 last year was TJ Hawkinson. I just think we don't realize how easy it is to get to tight end 5. It's not a very hard thing to do. All respect to TJ. He had a great year, but he played all 16 games, and he had 175 fantasy points in those games. That equals to about 11 points per game in PPR. Think about 11 points per game in PPR. That would mean that Kyle Pitts would only need to average 4 to 5 receptions along with 50 to 60 yards per game. And of course, he would need to put on, let's say, 2 to 4 touchdowns on the year at minimum. That would allow him to finish as a tight end 5 if we were going by this year's numbers.
Sheesh.
We have seen in many mock drafts, Kyle Pitts he has flown up every mock draft we have seen. If he truly is going to be a top 5 pick, which we have seen some experts put him at 2, some experts put him at 3, whoever drafts him this high, whether they trade up to get him or they take them at their spot, is not going to draft him with that capital unless they have a very good plan to use him within their offense. Think about, let's talk about the Falcons at 4. If he goes to the Falcons, you're telling me Kyle Pitts can't be a top 5 tight end in that offense?
Right.
How about the Bengals? Let's say Joey B comes back and he lands at 5 to the Bengals. Absolutely, he could be Joey B's favorite target from day one. The Eagles at 6? Okay, see you, Zach Ertz. Hello, Kyle Pitts, generational talent. I absolutely do believe that Kyle Pitts could finish as a top 5 tight end in fantasy this year.
Right. So, with all that being said, so if you're saying Kyle Pitts is a top 5 tight end, then you're saying you would only be taking 4 other tight ends above him in a redraft league. Okay, so obviously Travis Kelce, George Kittle, Darren Waller, Mark Andrews. Is that correct?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's the big 4 necessarily, but I would honestly consider it more of a big 3. I'm not even sold Mark Andrews is higher than Kyle Pitts. I am telling you, you should in redraft take Andrews over Pitts because it's a more certain scenario.
Right.
But I'm not even so sure about that. But yes, you said Darren Waller, by the way. I think Darren Waller is the best pro comparison for a Kyle Pitts. When you watch their gameplay, it's eerily similar.
Yeah, it's there. It's there.
Both very big guys, strong, talented players who can make those contested catches. We're talking about Kyle Pitts, generational talent Kyle Pitts, right?
Yeah.
So,
wow.
I do think I'm taking him after Andrews in a redraft league. He is absolutely my tight end 5. I know there's going to be this stigma. You're probably going to say, what about the stigma of rookie tight ends, right?
Right.
Well, rookie tight ends don't work out, right? They need a year at least to acclimate into the league. But what have we been saying this entire offseason? What have we been saying?
Tight ends are terrible.
Well, we've been saying that for a long time. But we've been saying Kyle Pitts isn't a tight end. Because he's not.
You're right.
He's a wide receiver playing the tight end position.
Right, okay.
If he's placed into the right offense, they're going to use him more in a weapon role than a pure tight end role. I mean, what are the other guys you would take at 5, right? Is it TJ Hawkinson? There's no Stafford there. Noah Fant. Drew Lock's okay, but there's not a very clear quarterback situation. Logan Thomas. I love Logan Thomas.
Watched the football fan, yeah, of course.
But I still am doubtful that he can repeat what he did last year. Bobby Toney Jr., as I like to call him, Bobby Toney.
Bobby Trees.
Will he be back in Green Bay? We don't know if Bobby Trees will be back in Green Bay. So personally, I think there's a very high chance, and I'm not actually worried about drafting him in redrafts.
Okay, so then what about Dynasty? So like, how high would you take him in Dynasty drafts then?
Well, quickly as well, I just want to point something out there. When it comes to a redraft league, if I'm not getting one of those 3 tight ends, then I am okay to wait and take Kyle Pitts in the 5th, 6th round.
Yeah.
Right? If I'm not getting Kelce, Kittle, or Waller, then I'm not taking Mark Andrews with the ADP that it's going to cost.
And that's a good thing you brought up. I personally believe that, Kyle Pitts coming in this year is going to change the dynamic of where you draft a tight end, and maybe that's too early to say, because it's a lot of the decisions that we're going to be making is going to be where he lands in my perspective. Because if he goes to the Patriots, there's no way anyone's taking him that early. But if he goes to like you said, the top five teams, top 7 teams, we believe that he's going to succeed. So it's really interesting. It's interesting to see where he's going to be going in redraft leagues. But what about Dynasty? Where are you taking him in the Dynasty rookie drafts?
In Dynasty, it's a good question. I've seen people mock him as high as 101.
Wow.
Above Trevor Lawrence. And let's just assume that you're playing a super flex league in Dynasty. Most Dynasty leagues are super flex. What does that mean for our people who don't play Dynasty or don't play super flex? That means you can play 2 quarterbacks. Quarterbacks have more valuable in super flex.
Correct.
Really fun way to play fantasy. In that scenario, I'm comfortable to take him at a 103. So that means Trevor Lawrence is off the board 101. In a super flex, and then it's either Najee Harris or Javonte Williams at 2. Then whoever you don't take, if you need a tight end, I am not upset if you take him at the 103 personally.
Right. Okay.
I'm just saying, guys, if you need a tight end, and this is actually going to be a generational tight end, why not? It's just a gift being handed to you.
Yeah, and that's what's interesting about this whole scenario. Obviously this is all dependent on your team, especially in Dynasty.
Yo, what's good? Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the best of fantasy football. We got some more videos as well if you're feeling like it. And lastly, don't forget that you can support us and unlock exclusive content by signing up to our Patreon, patreon.com/fantasylandfam.